AI gaming is evolving at breakneck speed, and now it's possible to use prompts to build your own AI worlds. This opens the door for creating parallel universes entirely with AI. Now in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what's possible with AI right now, showing you some of the most exciting projects. Now Jensen Huang says that the future is not in coding, that it is in understanding natural language.
Almost everybody who sits on a stage like this would tell you it is vital that your children learn computer science. Everybody should learn how to program. And in fact, it's almost exactly the opposite. It is our job to create computing technology such that nobody has to program. And that the programming language is human. Everybody in the world is now a programmer. This is the miracle. This is the miracle of artificial intelligence.
Now, first up is a project by Google DeepMind, and they are demonstrating how you can use simple text prompts to create entire playable worlds. What's incredible about this is not only does it generate vastly diverse environments, but you can actually play with your character and interact with the worlds that you create. Now, this is incredible because it's actually working. They're demonstrating how this technology is capable of creating these world simulations already. It was trained on a large-scale video dataset and, like other generative models, it demonstrates various emergent capabilities at scale. What this means is that once they created this model, it starts to show capabilities and behaviors that were not directly programmed into the model. For example, it starts to create an understanding of physics, of reality, of three-dimensional spaces, and the importance of coherence in actions. This is all simply coming out of a video data training set. So it hasn't been trained on other games, it's only been trained on videos. Now, I find this model particularly interesting because it's not just human characters that you can create games for, you can also create games with vehicles or even first-person shooters. Here's an example of a driving game, and it's quite simply astounding. The model also demonstrates the possibilities of having a first-person view. Now, what's incredible is that this AI learned to create complex 3D structures of its own accord. And not only this, but the temporal consistency is absolutely astounding. And what that means is that the objects remain in the same place every time you go visit them. One of the problems with AI video has been that if you look for consistencies in objects moving across the screen, you'll often see that they will morph or disappear at unusual moments. But here we can see fantastic adherence to reality, that objects are remaining perfectly in place. Another couple of interesting examples coming out of this model is the way it manages to create objects which users can then interact with. For example, we have balloons generated in this world model, and this individual is able to run up to them and explode them. Not just balloons, but here we can see that a door has been generated, and the user is able to walk up to it, and the door opens into another part of the map. This brings us such immense possibilities for creating complex interactions and objects that users can really start to immerse themselves within. Now, you can see another game here. The character design is fantastically interesting, especially the uniqueness of this robot character and how it moves. You can see this robot has a nice stiffness to his limbs, whereas this character who is climbing up a ladder, you can really see that his spine wiggles more and that he has more fluidity in his movements. So all in all, the physics are simply astounding. Now here, take a look at how well it renders the water with a boat sailing on it. The model is able to demonstrate gravity so well, you can see how nicely this car falls off the cliff, and you can feel the effect of gravity being applied to the car. Now moving on, another great thing about this model is that you can simply put an image into the model and it will build out a world from a single image. You can start not simply just with a text prompt, but even an image. Now, this opens up some really interesting possibilities of creating, just taking an image of yourself and suddenly creating a virtual simulation of your environment. It's very interesting to see how it's able to work with different characters and animate them in completely different ways. We can see here we have a paper plane, a dragon, a hawk, and a parachutist, and each of these have a different personality in the animations. Quite tellingly, the dragon and the hawk have different wing animations, with the dragon having to do a lot more flapping, while the hawk goes through a lot more gliding. Now, some of the interesting moments from this model are the 3 outtakes that they show us at the end of the paper. I particularly want to draw your attention to this one, which is where the AI, for no reason at all, without being asked to, generates a ghost in the garden. and you see this ghostly, ethereal figure walking into the screen and then disappearing. That is simply coming from the imagination of AI. And then in this example, we have a snowboarder who suddenly decides to stop snowboarding and start running, and that was also a decision made by the AI. And then here, we have a view of a wizard throwing out a magic spell, and suddenly it transports him to an entirely new reality. And again, this was not asked of AI, it simply decided to do it once the action was created. There are also some interesting developments for NPCs. Nvidia has shown us a fantastic demonstration of its own generative AI-NPC world, where you're able to interact with an AI powered by its large language model. What's quite fascinating about this is the potential for creating high-quality, interactive characters that are not considered by their programming. This is certainly another area where we can really expand the possibilities for creating games with AI.
Kai, long time no see. You've been hiding in the shadows, or have you just been trying to avoid me?
Hey Nova, it's good to see you. I haven't been trying to avoid you, just been super busy. How are things?
Things are fantastic. Just secured a juicy contract with Zenith and Sons.
Hey Jin, you hear that? Nova just landed a big contract. Let's break out the good stuff.
You got it, Kai. Nova's success calls for the top shelf celebration. Just don't expect this to become a habit.
Thanks, Jin.
One other project that is particularly exciting is called Exists. They are demonstrating here how you can work with prompts to generate your own worlds and then edit every part of the experience. You can see in that preview video that you can create any type of game that you like and change every single element. You can create everything from first-person shooters to third-person shooters, top-down or even racing games. When you're in the game, you can change whatever element you'd like with simple prompting. If you want to change the style or the architecture, for example, this is entirely possible. Once you're ready, you can also start to play the game alone or multiplayer with your friends. This is not accessible yet, but you can sign up for their beta. Now, another competitor is called BitMagic. This is also only available to sign up for their beta, but it does showcase the possibility for prompt to video games. It doesn't look quite as advanced as Exist or Google DeepMind's Genie model, but it does create a very approachable game that I think is more likely to be accessible to the public at a sooner date. Another interesting project to be aware of is called Odyssey Systems. This is also a model that is able to create generative worlds, and the model is called Explorer. They are creating this model for both gaming and film to be able to create special effects and also real-world models. What I particularly admire about this model are the beautiful textures that are coming out. Here, we can see a real high fidelity of renderings. Perhaps this is the most impressive demonstration of this technology so far. If you just look at how wonderfully detailed and intricate these environments are, it's just unbelievable. Now, what's particularly interesting about this model is they are not training it on only video data, they're also training it on actual 3D data. They say that we think it will be impossible for generative models to generate Hollywood-grade worlds that feel alive without training on a vast volume of rich, multimodal real-world 3D data. Here you can see a member of their team capturing this data in real life with their 3D scanning technology. Now, all these video game generation models are going to change the game development world. We're very close to the stage where anybody without any computer background or any coding knowledge will be able to produce games. And with that being said, that's it for today's video. I'll see you guys again soon for another one.